Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 action film Force of Nature. Now this is a film that is directed by Michael Polish and it stars Emile Hirsch, Kate Bosworth, Mel Gibson and David Zayas. Now this is a film, it's based in Puerto Rico and there is a Category 5 tropical storm in the process of coming down, and Emile Hirsch, who is a seriously unmotivated police officer, and it does explain why in the film, has a new partner, and they essentially have to drive around Puerto Rico, and anyone that is refusing to evacuate they basically have to remove from the premises for their own safety. They are then brought to the attention of an apartment building where there are some people reported who won't leave, one of them being Mel Gibson, who is a retired police officer, very grumpy, very ill, and he's refusing to leave and wants to ride out the storm. His daughter, played by Kate Bosworth, is there trying to convince him to leave, but what they don't realise is the other guy in the building who won't leave is an aging German man who is has hidden in the apartment complex a lot of valuable items, and David Zayas and his crew of criminals turn up at this apartment building to steal these valuable items, and Emile Hirsch and everybody else, including Mel Gibson, have to fight to survive. That's the essential storyline of this film. Now, what are my thoughts on Force of Nature? It's okay. It's nothing special. It's nothing that you're going to watch and think, wow, that was fantastic. And there's a number of reasons for that, and I'll try and talk about them. The first for me is pretty terrible character development here. You don't care about really any of these characters. The only one they try and give a little bit of backstory and character development to really is Emile Hirsch's character, the police officer, Cardillo, who they give him this backstory. I mean, at the beginning of the film he's suicidal. I mean, it almost is reminiscent to how Riggs was in Lethal Weapon. You know, he's basically suicidal, which explains why he's unmotivated to do his job anymore. And that's it, really. You don't really get anything else. They're just characters in the movie, which is just a bit of a letdown. And Emile Hirsch himself, I don't think he's bad in the film, but he doesn't strike you as like an action star. Now, sometimes that's fine. I mean, look at Matt Damon. Who thought Matt Damon was ever going to be an action star? And then he made the Bourne films, and it proved that anybody can be an action star. He just doesn't have that presence in this film, and he doesn't carry the film, I don't think. Now, you would suspect that the reason they've put Mel Gibson in this film is to carry the load of that. But his character is so unlikable, Mel Gibson's character in this film, and pretty ineffective for the most part as well, and you almost end up scratching your head as to why he's in the film at all, or why he decided to be in the film at all, because he doesn't have an awful lot of impact on this film, and you could argue it's little more than a glorified cameo, even though he is in the film for a decent stretch. And Kate Bosworth's character, well, bless her, other than her telling a story about her and her dad when she was young, she gets nothing interesting to do in this film. As doesn't Emile Hirsch's character, Stephanie Kao. This rookie cop, again, has very little to do in the film that's interesting. It's just full of uninteresting characters, and the group of criminals that come to take over this building to get these valuable items, led by David Zayas, who you may recognise from the Dexter TV show. Plays a lot of bad guys. He was the bad guys in Expendables as well. Totally uninteresting. David Zayas' character, John the Baptist is called, has got no personality at all. He's just very generic bad guy. All his crew are all very generic bad guys, pretty incompetent at what they do, usual thing, and it just makes it uninteresting to watch. Now, for me though, the biggest crime I think that this film delivers is it's supposed to be set in this tropical storm. This storm, like when you watch storms in films like Hard Rain, I'm not saying Hard Rain's a good film, it's decent, but the storm is a character in that film. And in this, the only reason there ever seems to be a storm in this film is to get these characters to this apartment building because they got to evacuate them. Other than that, the storm plays very little part in this film, and it makes you wonder why. I'm sure they could have come up with another reason why they could have got these people out of the apartment building, you know what I mean? There was a multitude of reasons, and it seemed like a waste of an idea to set this movie in this huge Category 5 storm when they don't really do anything interesting with that idea. So there's a lot of things in this film that don't work particularly well. However, saying that, it's one of those action flicks you'll put on, watch, seen all this type of stuff before many times, but you'll put it on, you'll watch it, and you'll kind of think, okay, that was watchable, and you won't think about it again. It's one of those you'll see on the shelf at Asda, and you'll see Mel Gibson plastered all over the DVD, and you think, oh, well, that's got to be good, Mel Gibson's in it. And you'll get it and watch it and think, oh, it's alright. And that's about it. It's just not. It doesn't stand out in this genre, and I think these days in the action genre, I think you've got to really make yourself stand out. This feels a little bit old-fashioned, a little bit generic, with some fairly uninteresting characters, but the action scenes are competent, and it's certainly a decent enough watch, but it's not something that is memorable at all. So I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. I was pretty disappointed with it, to be honest. I mean, there was some controversy as well about this film being set, which is ironic really when you consider they didn't really do anything with the Storm storyline. So there was a little bit of controversy about this film because it was set in this tropical Category 5 storm, and Puerto Rico apparently fairly recently have just had a pretty devastating storm. So a lot of people were saying that, you know, it was a bit insensitive, they thought. I don't think they needed to worry, because, you know, the storm isn't really a big part of this film. So that's my review for Force of Nature. Maybe one to check out if you see it hanging around the shelves at the supermarket, and if you're a really big fan of Mel Gibson. Other than that, it's a pretty forgettable film. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the review. I will be back with more content on Screen Stars really soon.